Welcome to the Dive Bar Music Club podcast, where the guest hosts drop in and out, but the opinions are always passionate and the playlists loud. It's like Cheers if everyone at the bar had a strong take on 90s alt-rock or a suspicious number of burned CDs. Around our table, you'll find an emerging touring songwriter, a former cult band favorite whose work since then is even more interesting, a portrait photographer with a not-so-secret metal penchant, a record store owner who learned about Swifties the hard way, a retired folk singer who regrets nothing, and a zine maker with more cool music projects than we can count. We're all just here to share what we're currently obsessed with and maybe convince someone that yes, that weird Icelandic synth folk band is worth a listen. Okay, that last one's probably me, Sloane Spencer. It's Dive Bar Music Club. Low-key, high taste, happy hour for music nerds.
Hey, y'all, welcome to Dive Bar Music Club, the low-key, high-taste music chat. And we are hanging out doing one of our little summer catch-up sessions this time. It's just me and Kim Ware. We are recording this just on our phones, so if the audio quality is slightly different than our usual studio recordings, that's what's going on. But otherwise, it's all good. So, Kim, I basically keep up with your life through social media and your posts. What you been up to?
Yeah, it's been a fun summer for the most part. I've been playing a lot, mostly with Yaller, a little bit with my own stuff, going to some shows here and there as I can. I live at a small lake. It's really nice, especially in the summer. It kind of feels like I live at vacation. I mean, it's great. It really is great. But it's like one more thing to balance in a way. Sure. You know, it's like sometimes when the weather, like today, it's kind of rainy, and I find myself being somewhat grateful for those days because it's like, okay, now I can't just go out. Well, I could, but you know, I'm not going to just go out paddleboarding and then like stay out on the water all day. You know, it sounds like it's a very privileged life, and I mean, I'm very fortunate. It's a little teeny lake. It's not anything big, but it's really nice and peaceful. And so, yeah, you know, just trying to balance that sort of stuff with work thing, and then I have elderly relatives that I help take care of, and so I often feel pulled in many directions.
For sure.
And yeah, so that can be really challenging, but at the same time, I'm super grateful to have a really full life, and a lot of that is music and has been music here recently. So yeah, just doing that whole thing.
Doing all of it. Well, so one of the things that's fun with when you are talking about the music that you play is that you have two such different outlets that are your primary ways of expressing, and they're both really vibrant. So I know y'all played out a bunch with Yaller through the summer, and you did the cool birthday double bill.
Yeah.
You've hinted a couple times that maybe y'all recorded and have something coming our way. Did I make that up?
No, you didn't make it up. That's very observant of you. We did. We recorded an EP with Jerry Key in Mebane, North Carolina, and I don't know if you're familiar with Jerry, but he would never boast the way that I boast about him. But he's amazing, and he's got such a history and pedigree dating back to like the late 80s, early 90s Chapel Hill indie scene.
For sure.
And yeah, and so we went and recorded with him. Gosh, it's been, you know, in the spring, like several months ago, and just basically spent like a weekend there and recorded it mostly live, which was a really cool experience. Yeah, it was so much fun. So we're shooting to get that out in October.
Oh, that's pretty quick.
Yeah. So we have a lot to do between now and then. But I mean, it's done. It's all done and mastered and everything. So it's just working out all the artwork and all that stuff. And then we're planning a tour around the, like, I think our first show's right around the 20th, something right around the end of October. And yeah, just like a week long thing, but you know, we're doing all of this by ourselves, so it's a lot. But it's been going well so far, and I think the tour is coming together. So yeah, so that's been keeping me really busy We had a show just a few days ago at Snug Harbor, one of my favorite venues in Charlotte.
I love that place.
It's great, isn't it? Yeah, so that was super fun, and then we're playing it. I think it's called like Club 27. I've never been there. It's a venue in Asheville this weekend. We're playing there Friday night, and then I play in Salisbury Saturday morning at the farmers market. So I'm sure
nice.
This will probably be out after all of that. But that's just an example of like, that's kind of the stuff I'm balancing. It's like I have a late-ish for me because I'm old Friday night show with Yaller, and then come back and get up pretty early the next morning to go to Salisbury to play my acoustic sad.
Oh, you're like, the only thing on my rider is a gallon of coffee.
Oh, seriously, I know. I don't do much of that because it's challenging, but yeah, it just happened to work out that way for this weekend.
Heading you back the right direction, sort of.
Yeah, and it'll be good. Like whenever I do that, like have a whole weekend where it's like all I did really was music. I mean, like when we recorded, it feels great. I mean, it's just to be able to just focus on that for even just like a day or two at a time is nice. So yeah, I mean, it is like you said, they're two very different animals in so many ways, and both of them have been pretty active here lately. Y'all are more than my own stuff, because when it's my own, I feel like I can put the brakes on anytime I want to.
Sure.
And when it's like when I'm 1/4 of an entity and they rely on me, then I feel like I want to make myself as available as possible. And I love doing it.
That makes perfect sense. A little side note, because it's stuck in my head. So Mebane, North Carolina, just for FYI, for people not from around here, it looks like Mebane when you're reading it. So that's like, it's one of those insider, like how you can quickly tell if you're not from there sort of things.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I guess I got it right. having gone there enough over the years. But yeah, it looks like Mebane.
I'm a visual learner, and so it always makes me laugh when things, and I love it, like in a good way, when things are pronounced locally very differently than whatever it looks like on paper. And so it sticks out both in music and in travel and all of that sort of stuff. And I'm always entertained by that. But so it's cool that y'all are. I didn't even mean that one. I know. I couldn't have planned that if I tried. So, but with y'all, you've got the record finished, which is amazing. And I think that that's the part that a lot of folks don't realize about getting an independent record out is the hard work comes after that. It's all the other stuff related to getting the record to people in different ways, both live and digitally, and if you choose to do physical and just all of that stuff. And the thing that I may have mentioned on this podcast before that I am suddenly getting inundated with as someone so I've retired from radio, but I'm still on a lot of lists and people think I still do it. So I have been getting the worst AI PR pitches from a couple of different companies. And I really feel for the independent artist who thinks they're getting some sort of great treatment by paying some of these companies. There are great radio promoters. I am not putting that down. But if you're looking to hire somebody, you want them to have worked directly with someone you personally know. Because no matter what the big names are that they put on, whatever they put out there on the internet, you don't know what quality of work they're going to give to you, the independent artist. These last 3 months especially, I have gotten the worst pitches. And honestly, it's not my role to contact the artist directly and be like, dude, stop giving this person your money. But they're getting taken, and you feel terrible as someone on the other side of it when people who are working very hard to get their art out into the world are clearly getting taken advantage of.
Man, I hate that because, yeah, you're right. It's like I've done it both ways. I've hired people to help me get the word out about my music, and I've attempted to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it is so expensive. And especially with with both. I was going to say with my solo stuff, but really with both musical projects, we're very, I don't know, everybody wants to say this about their stuff, I'm sure, and they wouldn't be wrong. Like we put a lot of ourselves into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I've often thought, like, shoot, if I'm an introvert and when I meet new people, sometimes it's like, I don't know, like, what do I say about myself? And sometimes it's just like, here, listen to this.
Right.
This is me, And so then to think that it's treated in a way where you're just going to feed it into the machine and have it. And I mean, I know that it's like, it's coming from things that humans did currently. Right. Because it's still becoming a thing. But I don't know. Sloane, I could be on this soapbox for hours. Because it really has been bothering me, because I think some things should be challenging. Some things should take thought. Some things should be, you should look at it and be like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I'm going to get this done, but we figure it out because that's what I like. And I believe that's how it should be, and so it's bothering me that more and more, it seems like people are resorting to, but I can save time to do it. And it's like, sure. Yeah, yes, you can say, what you going to do with that time? What you going to do with that time? You're probably going to like scroll on your phone, So, I don't know. Not a fan, if you can't tell.
Totally. But on the flip side, another thing that has popped up in a positive direction recently is these little bitty record stores that also have listening rooms and or like a tiny high quality audio cafe. And I am shocked at the very small towns that have some of these places. And I'm like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. And my hope is that we'll see more and more of that because there's a backlash to everything. For sure. Right. And so that's great. Yeah, that reminds me. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I saw like an Instagram post of one of those that opened up recently in Charlotte. And I made a point like, oh, I got to go check that out. And of course, it entered my brain and then it left it.
There's one about an hour from me in Hartsville, South Carolina that just opened. I haven't been yet, so I can't speak for it. But I was like, Hartsville? Of all places? Like, it's a small town.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of like, And I guess the first place I heard about like the vinyl audio listening room concept was when Charles was talking about partnering with one for his record release, the record club that he does. And I was like, oh, interesting. And I started looking into it and I realized there were a few of those. And I went to one up in Hillsboro that was very cool. I had a great time. It's a great experience.
That's awesome. I love Hillsboro.
Yeah, but what a cool place. I had never been there. I'd been to Chapel Hill, but really? No, it was amazing.
Oh, it is. That has long been probably my favorite town in North Carolina.
If I gambled and won, that's where I'd move.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, I see it's nice to have stuff on the horizon. It's nice to know that there's a plan and it's moving forward. And even though the process is it's not like there's one way to move forward, it's kind of fun to be moving forward and seeing where it goes and enjoying that.
Yeah, you're right. And it is, living in this strange, maddening, often distressing world. I think more and more, I was kind of talking to my husband about this the other day. It's like, we both get kind of down about everything, it's
Sure.
like you can't look at your phone anymore without hearing if you say something that's anti-fascist, then you might get I'm like, what?
Right.
What
Right.
is
this is ridiculous. Right.
Yeah, it's like Black Mirror or something. It's like this real, is this even real? And so I'm like, at least we still have so many good things. I feel so fortunate that I still have music primarily and just a job that's rewarding and my health and all those things. And it's like, I'm trying just to really, really remain focused on that. And you're right. I mean, I think having some sort of creative project that you can kind of just see it through to completion and then putting it out in the universe, well, it's critical for my sanity right now. And I think a lot of people's,
Totally. Yeah, it's interesting because, I'm thinking back to like when the pandemic first started and people were like, oh, we're going to get so much great art out of this. And what really happened was a lot of people turned inward and stopped. And I think what I'm seeing now is more now it's all coming out because everything externally is really bad. And so it's interesting to see how that's impacting, hopefully, what will be better days down the road, because current status is nuts. I mean, I was talking with a high school friend recently, and I was like, I never really expected to be a person who was like very vocally like that entire entity of the government, and I was talking about ICE, is evil. I was like, I just didn't ever expect to be like that entire concept. The whole thing is evil. And I just was like on this road. I was like, I just didn't think we'd be here. And the naivete and the privilege that it took to not think that was huge.
I know.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
It really
but
is.
Then at the same time, it's just like that you see all the time. Wow, if only we would have known.
Right.
If only we had some sign. It's like,
I'm a gallows humor and a gallows laugher. So, like, I get it. Yes. I'm not belittling it. That's my response.
No, I know.
I also Christian. I'm mad. So, whatever. Like, here we are. But so like, I'm excited for you to have this coming our way. And I like what you all are going to be sharing. And I think that it'll be content that matters for people, and just the experience of getting to go see live music that's really putting it all out there as a fan is really important as well, not just for the folks who are creating it, but I think it's important to show up in real life and have that community experience, even if it's like 5 other people there. Like, that handful of people have a shared music experience that is really valuable.
Yes, I think that's so beautiful. We went, just speaking of community, it reminded me of this. We went out on, my husband and I and a friend, I think it was Saturday night, to Common Market. There's several locations. We went to one of the ones in Charlotte, and David Childers played with his trio. What a cool man. That was it was so great, because it's like, are you familiar with the Common Market? Those stores?
No.
So I mean, it's like a little grocery store / bar, like bodega stuff, it's very small.
I met my husband in the back of a grocery store bar. I've never been to this one, but I get the vibe.
Yeah, that's so cool. But yeah, so they played there, and they just set up in the middle of the store right on the floor. And it was really cool. It was my first time that I had been to that particular location. I was really taken by recognizing, now that I've seen David a number of times, and he's so beloved in North Carolina and in the region.
Just a legend around here.
Yeah, that you see a lot of the same people at his shows now, and it's I'm in my early 50s. It's, people like mostly my age and a bit older. And that's nice to see that, like, oh yeah, we can still like go out and have fun.
Right. I feel this.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel this.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it definitely was that kind of vibe. Just like upbeat community, like we're all there for the same reason, to like enjoy this music and see this like area talent that we all just really love and appreciate. And it was a really, really great night.
Yeah. Oh man. And he was very, very sick a while ago. So that is just awesome to have him out playing again.
It is. Yeah. He's been playing a lot here lately. And
cool.
Looks really good. Sounds really good. And yeah, he's got a great band. His son, Robert, plays drums and sings with him a good bit too. And Robert has such a neat voice. And just seeing them together is like, it's really sweet. It's so cool. And like, I moved back to this area from Atlanta in 2020, and I lived in Atlanta for 16 years and just loved it, and really felt like I was, kind of part of just a really vibrant scene, and I still miss it every day. And it's taken me a while to feel like, oh, this area has that too.
Yes.
And I mean, I think most places do. Sometimes it's not that easy to find, but I think once you do, it's amazing to be able to just go out. I mean, that was a free show. Like we gave them a tip, right? And so like just to go and not have to pay the corporate entity that's like Ticketmaster, like $100 and something or whatever, it just like to go and hear awesome music. Like, I mean, he played for probably 2.5 hours or so.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just up the road for me. I mean, we're about like 30 some miles from Charlotte, but still that's not, for many people, it's like, they just went up the road to a grocery store. I think that's amazing.
That is incredible. Absolutely. And to me, having been in the Carolinas for a really long time, but I'm also from Atlanta, it's funny. Atlanta has a bunch of different really tight music scenes. And then there's kind of the broader music scene. But it's funny, even now, after I haven't lived there in decades, and there are certain venues that I will go back to, and there are people that I know, and it blows my mind. I mean, we're talking, I haven't lived there in maybe 30 years. I will walk into Star Bar, and there is guaranteed some person that I personally know, and it blows my mind every time. That place wasn't even around before, but like it attracts some of those same folks. And so if I buy a ticket to a show there, I'm guaranteed to run into someone I know, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
You're right about the community aspect, though. That's really cool.
Y'all is playing in Atlanta at the end of this month. There's something called the Southern Fried Gaming Expo.
Yeah.
Yeah, up at like the Cobb Galleria. And we're kind of in that. I think we sort of appeal to that scene because we have a song about D&D. And so we're playing at that. That's whatever the Friday is at the very, very end of July, the 31st. And then I'm playing at Red Light just like a couple of weeks later on August 16th. Yeah, my friend Jeff Evans and you might be familiar with Jeff or like his circle. Jeff Evans, Chickens and Pigs.
I do not know Jeff Evans.
Yeah, Jeff has been around a long, 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 long time. He lived in East Atlanta for a while, and so, he was a regular at the EARL and places like that. And Jeff was one of the first people that I met when I moved to Atlanta. I met someone that plays in his band often. Yeah, her name's Tracy Clark. Like, she was actually like the first person I met in Atlanta, like not like at like a job or something, like the first person that I remember meeting and like becoming friends with. And she introduced me to Jeff, and they needed a drummer. Yeah, so I joined his band Chickens and Pigs for several years, played with him, and now I think he still does. I'll have to ask him exactly what the status of each of his entities is. But like I was going to say, I think he does Chickens and Pigs, still some. I mean, he's Chickens and Pigs. Yes. It's been like 30 something last I heard. It's probably up to 40 something now, different people that have played a role in Chickens and Pigs over the years. But it's his, he writes all the songs, sings them, plays guitar, all that. But anyway, he has a new project, new-ish, called Jeff Evans Porkestra.
Okay. Keeping the food here.
Yeah, yes. And so he is releasing a new album, and I'm going to open for him at Red Light on the 16th. Yeah, and I've been listening to his album. He let me listen to it, in advance of it actually being released, and it's so good. It's really, really, really great. So I'm super proud of him and really honored to be involved.
That's so exciting. That's so cool.
Yeah. The Atlanta folks is, still very near and dear to my heart. And I've been listening to a lot of Atlanta stuff here recently also.
I was just going to say, what's in your ears that's related to that?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, Jeff that I just mentioned, another friend of mine, Scott Roberts, who has also been around for a long time, and he's super talented songwriter, guitar player. He recently moved to Athens, he's not one to like play out all that much. I learned of him we were in a Facebook group called Theme Music.
Okay.
That has a whole bunch of members, and we post songs related to like a specific theme every couple of weeks. Yeah, and that's like we perform the songs, not just like, hey, here's a song. It's like we post a video of us either playing a cover or we write a song.
What a great way to challenge your thinking musically on a recurring basis. I love that.
I've written so many songs that came from prompts from theme music that ended up on my albums and stuff. So yeah, for sure, that's been great. But yeah, anyway, that's how I know of Scott, and he recently released. I think this is such a cool concept. So Yola Tango's Fake Book album.
Yes.
Okay, so Scott released Fake Book, and it's him doing like, I guess probably about maybe 3/4. I think he noted like the percentage is maybe 60-something% or something like that of that album. And he made a cover that was like an homage to the actual cover. And anyway, he just did all the songs mostly acoustic, and he's great, and it's really cool. So that's just, I think it's only available on Bandcamp.
Right. Love it.
Encourage you to check that out. And I've really been enjoying that. And then some of my very, very closest friends in Atlanta, they're called the Yum Yum Tree. They released an album back in April-ish, I think. It's called Turn Down the Noise, and it's amazing. It turned out so great. I listened to it a lot before it came to be.
That's always fun.
Yeah, Andy, the primary writer, and she sings and plays bass in the band. She's one of my very best friends, and she had they recorded a ton of songs. Like they had probably, I don't know, maybe close to easily 20-something songs to choose from.
Wow.
Yeah, and so she sent it to me and some others, like, help us pick what the album will be.
Right.
So I was listening to it a lot before it came out, kind of just helping her sort of arrange like the order of songs and everything. Yep. And recently kind of dove back into that, and I'm like, I don't know, it makes me so happy and just proud when my friends make something that I choose to put on.
Absolutely.
you know how it is. It's like.
We used to have this joke of GGBB, which was good guy, bad band. And so, my God, when you have friends who are putting out things that you actually want to listen to just because, it's a different kind of like fabulous. It's so exciting.
Yes, it is so exciting. And yeah, I think like those three here recently, I mean, I could go on and on about Atlanta and all my talented friends, but they've recently, put out something that, I put on just because I'm like, oh, I feel like listening to this now. It could be just like me putting on like Kathleen Edwards or Lydia Loveless or whoever, It's like I'm choosing to listen to this because it's freaking great. And
totally.
yeah, that's been awesome.
Total loose association here, but so I don't know Lydia Loveless. We do have people in our group who are good personal friends with her, but I've enjoyed following her in her social media recently, where she's been talking a little bit more about doing some producing for folks. I would love to chat with her just to hear how that's bringing different creative things for her. Like I find her very interesting in interviews that I from many, many years ago all the way through now.
Yes, you should probably reach out to
special
her.
Guest. I'm like, we don't love a special guest. She'll just pop in one day. But
I don't really know her, personally. I've followed her for a really long time also, and she is definitely one of my favorite writers of all time.
Yeah.
I love everything she does. You've probably seen, like, she's been playing more piano here the last few years with her own stuff and all of that. And Yeah, her stuff is just, it's so personal and emotional. And like, I remember when her album Real, that one, when that came out, that's probably still my favorite, I guess. And I don't know what was happening with me at that time. I don't know if it just like reminded me of my own divorce. I'm not sure, but I remember, like, you know how the first time you hear something and how like there's not many albums where I can tell you where I was, whatever. But
I know exactly the feeling.
If you can remember that, then obviously like that was a big impact, right? Sure. And that's how I freaking remember the first time I listened to that album. I can see myself sitting at my dining room table in Atlanta. And it was the weirdest thing. Like, I literally felt kind of physically like unnerved, almost a little nauseous. And you might think, well, why in the world would you enjoy it? But it was that, like, it hit me. Yes, it hit me. And I can't really even recall another album affecting me like quite that way. And I bet I listened to that album after I got past that initial nausea. I think I listened to that album every single day for like the next year or so.
Wow.
I know. It was good.
That is a deeply personal, nice review for a record.
I know. I promise I'm not a stalker or anything. Lydia, if you ever, like, I just love, I mean, it was, I think she's amazing. I love that kind of stuff where it's like you listen to it and it's like, oh, wow, this almost sounds a little bit like something that they might not have been able to just sit down and tell somebody.
Yep.
But they were able to find a way to express it that way. Yeah.
Absolutely. I recently had the experience of going to a festival that I go to all the time, and I ran into some musicians that I have known over the years for many years, but I have not seen in person in a long time. And one of them in particular, I had to like restrain myself from being like, remember your record 3 records ago? Well, I listen to that one all the time, and whenever I'm having a really hard time, I really, really like the particular record, but I wasn't going to launch into that and be a weirdo. But I really wanted to just be a weirdo, even though I know the person too well to be a weirdo like that.
Oh my God, they would appreciate it so much though. Like to know that that like creating something that touches somebody that deeply, I think as long as you don't wake them up at 3:30 in the morning standing by their bed to tell them that.
Well, so I was laughing at the beginning when you were talking about being an introvert because I'm a super introvert in real life. Like my entire extroversion is related to a microphone. And I love a microphone. I love being on the stage. I like a big crowd versus a small crowd. But one-on-one, I'm weird because I don't know what to say and I'm awkward and then I say dumb things and I don't mean to say them and I can't take them back. And so that's why I was like, okay, we're just not going to say this about this record and we're just going to be normal. Like pretend to be normal. He's pretending to be normal. We need to come up with like the perfect thing to say when you see a musician that you really like their record so that you don't come off as a creeper because it's not meant that way at all. Because music touches people so deeply, I think a lot of people have a relatable feeling like that of not wanting to come off as a weirdo because they don't mean it that way. But if you really say how much the music actually meant to you, you do come across as a weirdo.
I guess. But okay, so think about this though. Maybe the person that also made that and likely did like put their heart on their sleeve and probably did, speaking for myself, but surely I'm not the only one, probably did put something out there where it's like they didn't think they'd ever even be able to talk about that thing. They share that with you and they share that weirdness. Like they probably feel like they feel pretty friggin' weird about it.
I hear you. No, seriously though, I get it. And that's why it's so much fun to have folks from different perspectives with this particular podcast because, I'm sure that you have had the experience of having the fan who meant well, who came across as a weirdo. And I don't have that as a musician, but I was in radio forever and we do public appearances a lot. And boy, people have a whole idea of who you are when they listen to you on the radio every night for 20 years. And then the first time they meet you and they say very strange things. And sometimes they don't mean to be as weird as they come across.
No, right. Or maybe they do. And
then you get a restraining order. But other than that, there you go.
Yeah, right.
I wish I was kidding, but I'm not.
I believe me, I know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh my gosh, too funny. So quick, short therapy session for everybody right there. So now you can express your extreme appreciation for a record without being a weirdo. You just have to practice in the mirror ahead of time.
Yes. No, I mean, I know that I'm with you. Like, I can be so super awkward, and a few instances stand out that I don't want to go into because it's super embarrassing. Where like over the years, it's like I really not overly gushing or whatever, and I can't imagine they even remember it, because that's the thing, right? Like, we look back and we remember these little moments, and it seems like, oh my God, I made such a fool of myself, and like all of that, right? But like, they're not gonna remember it. and I think it's also like a pretty, I don't know, maybe that's like a universal thing, right? That like, if you really feel passionately about something, then that's part of it. Like, it's hard to put it into words, and it might make you feel like all the things, including like small and embarrassed, or and I don't know. I wish I could find this podcast. Maybe you can help me. Maybe this sounds familiar to you. I don't remember what podcast it was, but gosh, probably about 15 years ago.
Okay.
When I was in Atlanta, I was listening to some podcast. So it's one of the ones that had been around a while, right? Or at least was around then. But the Avett Brothers were on it. Yeah. And it was just one of those interview podcasts. And one of them said something, they were kind of talking about this, sort of like just the making art that's like really, really personal. And I don't remember exactly what he said, but I took what he said, and in summary, he said, art is embarrassing.
Ooh, I kind of like that.
I loved it. I wrote it on, I had like a chalkboard in our kitchen, and I wrote it on there all pretty and arty, and that was kind of like my mantra for a while.
Because like, if you're not putting yourself out there enough to potentially be embarrassed, you're not putting yourself out there.
Bingo. Yeah.
I'm thinking it out loud as it comes out of my mouth. I'm that right. This is interesting to think about.
I know.
I like this.
I do. I love it. And my husband and I, in many, many ways, we could not be more different. So just to give you, I guess, to play devil's advocate, for lack of a better term, I'm a Gemini, so I tend to do that. But I shared that with him. And spoiler alert, like he kind of shit all over it. Well, because he happens to be one of those that I don't know if he would describe himself this way, but the stage and creating music but especially music, that is a place that for him, that is confidence.
Oh,
and so I think he has a hard time seeing it that way. I think he might, and maybe others might see that as like a thing where it's like, well, just keep doing it. Right. Eventually you'll get comfortable with it. Right. And maybe, I think like everybody's different, but sure. I mean, for me, and I think for a lot of us, it's my tendency towards acceptance and commitment therapy. That's like, this is what it is.
Right.
Like, just accept that this is like, accept, like I said earlier, like I'm awkward. I get embarrassed about, like, that is a fact. It's become a fact. And so it's like, or at least in my mind it is, but I'd rather just accept and like lean into that than be like, oh, you know what? If you do it enough, Sloane, if you go talk to them people enough, then you won't feel awkward. Right, exactly. So I don't know. Takes all kinds, I guess, is my point. Right?
Yeah, it does. And that's true. Yeah. I'm going to be thinking about this. And like 3 months from now, I'm going to have big thoughts about this. That's how I operate. I got to ponder stuff for a while, and then I kind of go around in circles, and I come back to how I really think about it. It takes me a while.
Me too. Yeah, for sure.
Interesting. Well, so I have been trying to lean into the Kim Ware approach to finding new music. But as I've said before, I use Apple Music, and Apple Music's algorithm does not understand me at all. Which it's the only streaming music I've ever used. So you would think it would understand my listening habits a little better. But I tried in desperation this weekend. I was saying earlier that we had almost 20 hours of driving this weekend. So I was like, okay, here's what we're doing. We're going to listen to this particular playlist. Then we're going to just let it pick songs. It was off on like metal, new metal, like the screamo stuff that they play in like steroid gyms. It was so far away from anything that speaks to me on any level. And it was like, why does it not understand me? Kim gets great stuff on Tidal. This isn't fair.
Yeah, and that is sad. And I have not relied on the Apple Music algorithm all that much, but I will say that, so my like Gemini birthday show thing that I did, I made a playlist on Apple Music to play between bands, and then at the end of the night, like dancey stuff from the 70s to present. Okay. So it was a lot more mainstream stuff, you know, than I typically would listen to. So for a while after that was my algorithm on Apple Music, you know? So it was a good, that was a good bit different, but Tidal still does me pretty good.
Doing you right.
You know what I did this morning though? And I'm glad you mentioned this, because it's something I've been thinking about, just the way that I do consume music, trying to be a little bit more intentional, supporting some of the smaller guys. And so I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that I have been a fan of Bandcamp for so many years.
I love it.
And I have so much stuff up on it myself, of my own stuff. And I have the app on my phone, but I so rarely think about it.
Right.
And I don't know what made me think about it this morning, but I pulled up the Bandcamp app and just started playing, like, from, I guess it plays like their most recent, new and notable, it says, like their featured stuff. And I heard some really, really cool stuff that, like, I know I wouldn't hear otherwise.
Right. You know, so I'm thought to do that in a long time. I'm going to try that as well. I do have it. I just haven't thought about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to try to spend more time doing that sort of thing. Because, I mean, the convenience of streaming and all of that is something that I can't really deny that.
No.
But there's something to doing something where it maybe takes a little more effort. And again, kind of like we were talking about AI stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, granted, Bandcamp is like, that's streaming, but at least, like, it's gonna likely expose you to something where, you're not gonna hear it anywhere.
For sure.
Anywhere
I've spent
else,
more money
probably
through Bandcamp than anything else in terms of buying physical content and digital, but mostly physical. Yeah, I have a whole thing. Like, I listen to at least one vinyl record every day, and I like to pull out something and I will listen to it multiple times each day. And I enjoy the process. That's what I do when I drink my coffee in the morning, blah, blah, blah. But because I live in the middle of nowhere, I do consume a lot of streaming audio because I listen to my car. And I just hadn't thought to use my Bandcamp really so much. But over the years, I've liked enough bands and followed enough bands through that app and purchased a mountain of music through it that I would imagine it's probably going to bubble up some stuff that is closer to my actual taste. Because if you put your money forth towards something, before they had the player available, it would make recommendations based on what you liked. And those were always on point. Very rarely did it send me astray.
Yeah, I'm looking. See, I hadn't looked at it in so long, and I'm sure they change it, from time to time.
Sure.
But like right now, it's got featured, like when you go to the app across the top, and I'm curious if that featured, if it is personalized, or if I don't know. I'd be curious if yours is different than mine, or.
I used to know how their business and public facing structure worked, but they've been bought out a couple of times since I know. Direct knowledge. So I don't know how it works now.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it's like there's a music feed where I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing, I guess people I'm connected to or something, but it's got like people that bought things that I have bought also. And so like that could be a neat way. I guess.
That's a pretty good connection because like if someone else is willing to put their money forth towards the same band that I was willing to do so. Like we obviously have something in common,
Totally. Yeah. So that could probably be a good way to find stuff.
I am amazed. So I have 2 charity compilations that I produced that are on Bandcamp. And I mean, the last one was done in 2013. So this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we still see charitable sales through that, which blows my mind. I haven't done any promotion for either of the records since 2015 at all.
Oh.
And it is mind-boggling to me. And it's a trickle, but a trickle is a trickle. And it's a fascinating concept to me that the longevity that sometimes pops back up, because there's no way most of the bands that participated are the niche of the niche of the niche. Like people would not know who they are. And it's amazing.
No, it really is. I mean, that's one of the good things about the internet and for music is like, because I know, I mean, people have heard my music in countries that like I'll never go play in.
Wild?
And yeah, and I think that's super cool that you're still, and who knows how they're finding it.
No idea.
But yeah, somehow they are. But yeah, you mentioned like, but to me, it's like the buying vinyl over Bandcamp, and then getting like the download. That's kind of the pinnacle of like just supporting an independent artist and like having a real listening experience, with music. Because I love with you on the vinyl thing. I was listening to a lot more vinyl this winter, I guess, because I was in the house more. But that's another thing that I'm trying. It's like, oh, I need to just put on vinyl more because things become just like background. And I think that's what I was doing with my music listening a lot here lately. And I didn't like that. It's like, I want to know what is this? What am I listening to? Where are they from?
And there is a time and a place for the background. Like that's totally okay. But yeah, I hear you on that. Sometimes I want to be a little more aware and intentional about what it is and how it got there. And, and then I end up on the rabbit holes of needing to know who all these people are, how they're connected.
Well, yeah, you got to know where they are so you can show up to their house and profess your undying love for them, Sloane.
I heard you like peanut butter. How are you? I made you cookies. It's so creepy, is it? I would never do that. I'm just joking. So I'm like, for real, I would never, ever. It is super creepy. Although, back to the whole radio thing. We used to have people who would make food for us and like bring it to us when we would be out at remotes or whatever. There is not enough money on the planet where I am eating food that some rando brings to me at a public event.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I'm thinking, oh, that's sweet, but you're not thinking that, oh, they made it. Nope, it's not like it's like, yeah, right.
It's like eating handmade Halloween candy. That's not happening either.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
I don't want to find out you put like a pound of baking soda in here so that my stomach rumbles for 4 days. But we will reiterate, nobody's putting free drugs in your Halloween candy, people. Sorry. It's like my pet peeve every year. The local news will be like, inspect your kids' candy for drugs. I'm like, nobody's giving your kids free drugs. It's not happening.
Especially in this economy?
Right. Ridiculous. I don't know if we covered anything we were supposed to cover today.
We did. No, I think we covered everything pretty much. everything. Not pretty much. Yeah, like I don't know. Like, what else is there to possibly say?
Solo music, we got band, we got mental health care, we got being a weirdo. We covered making art and how you feel making art. We've done all the important stuff. We've done politics. We talked about drugs. We got everything. Podcast does everything. When I was in radio, I used to host a show that was called Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. And my favorite part about it was that it was actually the entire thing was talking about ways to have safe sex on the radio in a very way that it didn't seem like that's what I was talking about. And I was so proud of myself after every show that I was like, look what I did today. I was like, I don't know that any person really got what it was I was sharing, but it was the best. I was like going out on 100,000 watts of a classic rock station at night. And I was like, I cannot believe they haven't fired me yet. This is the best.
Wow.
I did it for like 13 years. Hilarious on that particular high.
That's so amazing. Do you have recordings of any of your shows?
I honestly don't know if I do or not. I was primarily in country radio. That was okay. I was live on the air in country, and then my classic rock was a recorded show because, you always had to voice track a second station. And I have recordings of the country stuff, but it's a whole different deal. That was like midday, and I was like, supposed to be the like background music of people's offices talking about. It was just it was like an acting gig. But it was perfect because I hated the music, so it didn't make any difference. But it was fun. People would call me and they would tell me, Lord, people will tell you anything if they listen to you on the radio all the time. So that was always entertaining. I worked the morning show in classic rock for a long time. And then I worked nights, 7 to midnight. That was a fun shift because it was mostly factory guys listening to me. And they would call from the factory to be like, man, they were great. They were diehard listeners. They were awesome. Super fun, super fun. Heck yeah. Kim, Ware, thank you for your time. You never know where a Dive Bar Music Club episode is going to go. Even when we have a framework and a bulletin, little notes, it's like, okay, free for all. Dive in, y'all.
Love it. Love it. No, this was so fun.
Safe travels for the things that'll be coming up.
That's the last call at Dive Bar Music Club. If you like the hang, follow the show, leave a review, and tell your algorithm, gosh darn it, we're worth it. Better yet, share your favorite episode with a friend who actually stayed for the whole set. See y'all next time for the low-key, high-taste happy hour for music nerds. Hey y'all, thanks for sliding in the booth with us here at Dive Bar Music Club. I'm Sloane Spencer, a former radio host and the creator of a ton of different podcasts over the years, including another brand new one that is completely different. It's the Gen X Sleep podcast, Sleep with Rock Stars. Subscribe today at sleepwithrockstars.com or your favorite podcast app.